Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am just working on this double dog portrait commission. So I've got a golden lab and also this absolutely adorable dog, which is some kind of terrier, I believe. I'm not entirely sure on the breed 100%, but he is just absolutely adorable. So that's what I'm working on today. So I just thought I would actually just record a little bit of it. So I'm gonna basically talk you through how I'm gonna draw these ears. They're amazing, super long ears. They're just so cute. I just think he is the cutest dog ever. Like, I think he's definitely one of my favorite dogs I've ever drawn. He's just absolutely, he's got such a kind little face. So I thought it'd be a good one to actually record for my channel. So I'm using Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils mostly, and then I'm also going to be using some Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils. So they're the two pencils that I would always use in all of my drawings pretty much, and I'm actually doing it on this lovely Clairefontaine grey toned paper. So I absolutely love the thickness and the quality of this paper, and I just love it as a background colour in general. I just think it makes colours really stand out quite nicely. So that is the materials I'm using, pretty simple. So as you can see, this type of dog, that kind of wispy long hair, but you know, it's not super long, but it's that kind of wispy kind of hair. So you kind of would just be doing wispy kind of strokes, if you know what I mean. Just quite lightly building up them layers, building up them hairs. And because it's grey paper, it is actually kind of working to my advantage because it's mostly, well, the ears especially are mostly grey. So I'm able to just kind of, you know, build up layers lightly because we've already got a lot of the mid-tones from the paper, even though there won't be much paper left. I tend to fill every little gap with pencil, but it does, yeah, this paper does kind of complement this coloured dog. So just start off by really slowly, kind of just, not slowly, lightly adding the first layer, which is just kind of grey. So as you can see here, he's got these kind of like long hairs that basically come into the ear. I'm really bad at explaining this, but I'm hoping you can see what I mean. So they kind of just come in quite wispy. Again, I'm just going to keep using this word because it's the only way I can really describe it. These wispy hairs that kind of come in and they kind of cover the ear. So these ears, they can look quite impressive when they're done. This kind of really kind of furry ear. However, the technique is super simple. So I literally am just kind of adding those layers in, just going back and forth. So I was using this, which is the warm grey 274, and then I've also got the warm grey 271. So I'm just using those two colours at the moment. I'm just kind of going back and forth, lighter and then darker. But as always, it's just all about looking at your reference. Always looking at your reference. I think I really like this this drawing that I've done because it does really look like the dog. I can really just see his cute little character coming through, and that is only possible if, you know, you really look at the reference photo and make sure that you are actually capturing their personality and their character and stuff, and, you know, letting their kind of their eyes and everything tell a story, which I feel like this one really does. He's got such a story in his eyes and his face. He's just got such a kind face. He's actually 20 years old, this dog, which is quite amazing. I think I really love this dog as well because he reminds me of my dog like a lot. Like my dog Lola, she's just got the longest ears and she's just got a really, I don't know, he's just got a real like Lola look about him. Even though it's a totally different breed, but they look very similar. So it really is just about building up these layers. So it's a very rainy day today, and the lighting is a little bit rubbish, so apologies for that, but it's the perfect day for drawing, I suppose, so I can't really complain. However, I am under a little bit of pressure with getting all of these drawings in on time. Just this month I've kind of been overloaded and didn't quite leave myself as much time as I probably should have, because then if one delay happens, it kind of delays everything, which is the problem when you're fully booked with commissions. So yes, always leave time for delays because they can happen. So I'm aiming to get this one finished today, which I probably will. I'll probably be working into the evening though, as I normally am. So I wanted to kind of get this recording out of the way when it's still a little bit bright. So let's see, I'm actually just going to add a little bit of the colour that's in the middle of the ear. So with dogs' ears, you'll probably be quite familiar with how you can often see a part where the light is kind of shining through the ear, and it's often got quite like warm tones because it's like shining through the skin, if you know what I mean. This one is not so much kind of in the light. You'll see with other dogs, you know, if the sun is really shining through their ears, it will go really kind of red or pink. So this one's kind of just got a very slight warm brown. So I'm just kind of doing a little layer with nougat. I'm terrible at these pronunciations of these pencil colours, so if I say any wrong, it's all about me. So as you can see, I'm not really using much pressure at all. I'm going really, really lightly, which is important when you're first building, because otherwise you'll get kind of, one, you won't be able to add as many layers. The paper won't take the actual extra layers. And just so you can actually build up the colours as well, because this isn't the final colour, this brown. So if I go really heavy, I won't be able to kind of add any more colours on top and mix it. So I'm actually trying to create a kind of like a warmy brown. So for that, I will need to add just really light pressure while I get the layers on until I'm happy with the colour. So let me think what colour to go in with next. Probably one like a pinky kind of mixed with the brown. I'm just going to top this a little bit. So depending on what part you're doing, you usually want pretty sharp pencils, but some bits it's not major important when you're kind of putting on light layers. But and then I'll probably do another layer of brown on top of this, just to make it kind of like a warm brown. And this is, what is this one? This is the coral colour. So just get a really nice layer on there. And then I'm going to go in again with that same nougat, no idea. So this is my first ever actual real-time voiceover. I mean, it's not even a voiceover. I am literally speaking as I draw. So it's a little bit scary. So if I say the wrong things, yeah, there's no going back really. So as you can see, so I've put the brown, then the pink, then the brown again. And of course, if I went in too heavy at the start, I wouldn't be able to add these layers. So because that's the thing, you don't always just want to, well, you don't always need to just rely on the colours of the pencils that you've actually got. You can you know, make your own colours by just layering, which can look really, really good. So actually I'm just going to go in with a darker brown. So this is my walnut brown. Around the edges, because the lightest part where the light would be shining through is in the middle of the ear, so the edges are actually quite a bit darker, quite a lot more shadow. Can't believe this dog is 20. It's so amazing. So he's been with his family for 19 years and they think he was 1. They actually found him in a car park when he was just a little puppy. Oh. I do actually think it's definitely one of my favourite dog drawings I've ever done. I just think he's so adorable. So I'm hoping his humans will be happy with him. And I hope he approves as well. That's always important, that he approves of his own portrait, you know? So as you can see, I'm just kind of lightly building up those kind of darker edges. And then that actually, the dark brown kind of comes all the way out to the edge of the ear. So just bring that brown all the way out to the edge. So when you see these kind of like really hairy ears, like don't be put off by it at all. It's honestly just it's all in the pencil strokes really. Just giving that wispy, them slow kind of building layers. And then, you know, where the hair is, I can't even speak, where the hair detail is, you know, just give it that kind of wispy strokes. So the reason I'm only recording the ear is because I just think, will anyone actually even watch it if it's longer than that? I don't even know. I definitely can do longer tutorials if people want, so of course let me know in the comments if you think that would be something I should do. Of course I'm new to all of these things, like I only really upload speed drawing videos, so actually giving advice and speaking in these videos is definitely very new to me. Okay, so that'll do for that layer. I'm just gonna now get my black, kind of darken up a few areas. Actually I'm gonna, before I do that, I'm actually gonna use my white, give it a little sharpen. I'm just gonna get my warm grey again as well. I'll be using them both together. Oh, I have this brand new pencil. So this is actually a brand new pencil, by the way. Like, it's only about 2 days old, and if I compare it to this pencil, which is new, like every time I top it, every time I sharpen it, the lead breaks off. So I'm like, is it just broken all the way through? Which is quite a pain, because they're not really cheap either, these pencils, and I buy a lot of them. I go through so many of these pencils, and I'm constantly ordering just single ones in the post, so I don't know, it's possible that the lead is just broken all the way through, which is really annoying, but never mind. So just with the warm grey, I'm just going to kind of go along the edge of it ever so slightly more than where the grey was. So this is just to kind of give it that little highlighted edge. So again, where the light will be shining onto that outside fur. And then I'm going to also just carry it on with white as well. So anywhere on the reference photo where I can see kind of like light hairs, I'm just going to be filling in some more wispy strokes. It really is just that simple, you know, just being patient with it and just keeping adding. I mean, I say be patient, it doesn't even really take that long. Like, you know, once you kind of get used to knowing what strokes are actually needed to get this kind of hair-like effect, then it's pretty simple, really. But of course it does just take a bit of practice as well. So when you're constantly layering these lights and these darks, it just makes that really kind of thick fur look. And then when you add the white, it just makes it really pop, like with the highlights. So you can even just see like around the eyes and stuff like that, where I've got the different tones of the whites and the greys. It just really kind of makes it stand out a lot. So now I'm just kind of where the hairs join from the head to the ear, just kind of giving them a bit more, making them stand out a little bit. If you hear anything in the background, by the way, it's probably my dog or my husband or both. I've locked them out of my office while I do this video. So as you can see, just those different layers, the layers of pencil actually look like layers of fur. So when you're getting those kind of darks and those lights in the right place, it has a really, really good kind of fur-like effect, which I love. So even again, just going on top of this with another dark colour, you can just see it adds so much more kind of, like it just adds another, I don't know, layer. I'm just using that word layer again, but do you know what I mean? It just gives this kind of depth to it. And there's nothing really technical at all about what I'm doing here. It's literally just going over lights and darks, lights and darks. Of course, when you have like a dark with a light, it makes the hairs really stand out. So these light hairs that I drew first, they're now really, really standing out so much more because of the dark behind them. So of course the trick to get this as good as you possibly can is just keep on looking at the reference photo. That really is the only secret behind it, is just making sure it's as accurate and as true to whoever you're drawing as possible. So if you worry that like from adding the dark over the light that you've kind of flattened those highlights a little bit and you've kind of overdone it, don't worry at all, because it's just all part of the layering really. You can always go back in if you've gone kind of light enough. You can always go back in and kind of fill in those highlights again. So I'm actually really pleased with this drawing. I'm normally my like own worst critic, as I'm sure lots of you can probably relate to if you draw. But with this one, I'm like, yeah, I really like it actually. I think full credit though to the cute dog. Like, he's just absolutely adorable. So it is an honor to be drawing such cuteness. And I love his story as well. Like, I don't know how anyone can abandon a dog or a puppy or any kind of animal. It's just absolutely insane to me. But hey ho, I'm just glad he found a loving family. So yeah, I'm just kind of darkening up around the edge, because like I said, this middle part is the lightest. I think I'm actually going to go in with it's just a little bit more dark down here. I'm going to go back in with this walnut brown, and I can go in a little bit heavier now as well, because this area is quite dark. I think it's actually a little bit wider, so I'm just going to bring it out a little bit more. So with these ears, like, it's kind of a straight, they're kind of straight lines. However, because they're hairy, they have got a slight kind of jagged furry edge on them. So rather than just drawing like a really straight line, make sure if you know you are drawing any hairs, just get the hairs in, and it will just make it look all that more kind of realistic and lifelike. So back in with the black. So the trick with anything to make it look lifelike really is just make sure you've got your shadows and your highlights in there. That honestly is the most important thing. So just adding a little bit more of my nougat brown. Because it just makes it look a lot more 3D as well, you know, rather than just a flat pencil drawing. If you've got all of these kind of different depths of different tones, then it'll just give it so much more, yeah, just life to it really. I'm just going to sharpen my walnut brown a little bit, because I'm going to be doing quite pointy detail where the hairs are going in here. So this is where So this is the ear, and here's where the hairs are actually kind of just covering it. So we want it to look like there's actually a layer, there's some wispy hair, but over, covering over just the ear hole. So once you get these kind of sharp points in for the hair, then you can kind of just lightly blend it out. So I'm going quite light here actually, just to blend it out, because in there is quite heavy, because you need to kind of put that pressure on the sharp pencil to give it that real kind of sharp hair look. So the light part of this ear, even though we've kind of added all of those layers in that big area, which is always a good thing to do, because now I'm kind of layering the brown on top and adding another, just another layer of colour onto that, and then it's going to kind of close in on this really light area, which is exactly how it is in the reference. So that's what we want. Okay, I'm gonna go in now with my 2 greys again, my warm greys. Just get rid of any bits. So I always just use just a paintbrush for this, just to kind of brush off any bits of pencil or pigment that's come off, rather than kind of brushing your hand on it, because you can kind of smudge it all, and we don't want that. So just sharpen these 2 again. So my 2 warm greys. So I'm just gonna go in here because it's quite grey on the edge. Just lighten that up a little bit as well. So I'm going a little bit heavy in here. Just making sure these shadows are all kind of blending out nicely. You can see the reflection, the light reflecting onto these kind of lighter hairs here as well, so they will always show a bit lighter. So for hairs and, you know, strokes like this, that is most important for when you need a sharp pencil, of course, because you want the hair to be as thin as possible, and obviously the sharper your pencil, the thinner it's going to be. So just going to go in with a little bit of black up here just to kind of darken a few little bits. So the trick is just to constantly be looking at your reference photo really, and just making sure you're getting everything as accurate as possible. Always just double checking everything is where you want it to be. So it's quite a highlighted edge all the way around this ear. And it just makes it look a lot more kind of 3D as well, I think. So just a little bit more, bit more of my nougat brown. Now I'm going in quite heavy here actually, because I feel like this is probably my final layer of this area. So you don't really want to go crazy heavy until you're confident that it's the last kind of layer really. So as you can see, there's only a really small area of that kind of light part of the ear where the light is kind of shining through. And now just at the top of the ear is quite a bit darker, so I'm just going to be kind of like switching between the black, the grey and the walnut brown as well, just to until I kind of have it dark enough on this top corner. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just going to add a few more highlights, and I might go back when I'm done everything and think actually I might want to add something else to it, but that is kind of what I always do. Let's see. going to go in one last time with, actually, just for a few more bits of colour, I'm going to go in with these two, which are Caran d'Ache Luminance. So whites, depending on what kind of, depending on how can I explain this? Depending on what kind of lighting they're in, can have many different colours within the white. So I like to, so this one is kind of like a really, really light pink. It's a pink white. And then this one is a really light, it's called, middle, yeah, it's basically, it's number 713, and it's basically like, it's quite a minty colour, like it's a really light, kind of greeny blue. So by adding in these, we'll kind of add, so that greeny blue kind of adds like an iciness to the white and makes it really like kind of white. And then of course there's sometimes some nice little pink tones as well, so adding those will just kind of finish it off. So I'm just making sure these are nice and sharp as well. So I've got some blues. And what's good about these Luminance pencils is they layer so nicely. So even if you have quite a few layers on, you can tend to get another layer of this on, which is always good. And so it's just picking out little bits really that you kind of, and that's why it's so important as well to be looking at your reference photo, because, you know, when you kind of just normally look at this picture, for example, you would just see white or grey or whatever, but when you look closely, there's actually so many more different colours, and I think that just adds to the kind of realness of it in general. So just adding in those kind of slight colours, I think just make it look even better. So that's this ear done. Well, 43 minutes, I thought it would be less time than that. So that's this ear done, and now I'm just gonna whiz through this. As you will see, I'm gonna compress it down into like no time at all. I'm gonna do the second ear, add it in as a speed drawing straight after this one. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you like the techniques that I used on this ear, and I hope you like this drawing in this video. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. It means the absolute world to me to be growing my little YouTube channel, and just to really just be, you know, doing what I love and sharing anything that can help you guys to create things that you love as well. So please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.